Hey, I'm hungry. Will you feed me? Please, I'm starving. Please give this video a like and subscribe!
All right.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is Maintaining Frame. We are going to be looking at an article from a website called hercampus.com entitled Misandry, Justified, Harmful, or Maybe Even Necessary by Avery Pittock. Should be really educational, and I'm sure that we are going to lear something out of it.
Lear?
Lear, yeah. That's the new word we're using. We don't say learn anymore.
You say
So,
leer.
yeah, we're
Okay.
gonna leer. We're gonna
Is
leer
that
something.
is that a slang? Well, I guess obviously it is. We're gonna leer something.
It's just a new way of saying learn.
That sounds so lazy. Okay, sorry.
All right, no, it's
All right.
okay. Do the things.
Yeah, all right. So if you want to send us a message, if you want us to leer something, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. That's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Very best way for you to send a tip and a message with that tip. And I do have to beseech you all, we are in the final hour, the 11th hour of the fundraiser, and we have a ways to go. We have like $4,915. So if you are going to support us, please go and put some funds in the hat so that we can continue to bring you this content and have make sure that this voice doesn't die out. So I think what we talk about is needed now more than ever. And
Yep.
so once again, feedthebadger.com/support to support the show. And I guess I could try to do some shilling at some point, just to encourage you guys to help out. And if you want to join our community, that's badgernation.online. All right, so let's just get started.
Alrighty
That's gonna be our
then.
new way of saying studded.
No, that's fair. Okay.
Leered and studded. Let's get studded.
Let's get into it. Okay, so this article comes from hercampus.com, and it is I guess it's a campus website. I mean, that's my guess. So, but okay, let's get into it. I guess Misandry or Misandry. I don't know which is the correct pronunciation. Probably Misandry. Justified, harmful, or maybe even necessary. A few weeks ago, while aimlessly scrolling through TikTok videos, I was grabbed by an unusual caption. The video, posted by a woman simply known as @LTP823, features the unique tagline, "Teaching my 5-year-old daughter to be a misandrist." LTP remains semi-anonymous on her TikTok account, refraining from sharing her name beyond those 3 initials. And a brief bio describing her as a divorced mom and book lover from Washington, D.C., misandry is commonly known as a strong dislike or hatred towards men. Its definition, according to Merriam-Webster, is simply a hatred of men. All right, so that's the opening paragraph. I don't know if you want to say anything about that.
Yeah, it's a national online magazine written by college women with student-run chapters at over 380 campuses. It was founded by 3 Harvard undergraduates in 2009 after winning Harvard's business plan competition. It describes itself as the #1 media brand for the empowered college woman and also operates as marketing and PR firm with clients like New Balance and Juicy Couture.
Couture?
Couture is the new word, the new way of pronouncing. You see, the
So
thing is that
it's like leer.
I'm not mispronouncing, guys. I'm not mispronouncing words regularly. I'm creating new slang, and you guys need to take notes and start speaking like me. So now it's no
Yes.
longer chasm, it's chasm. The chasm.
Yeah, and that's not hyperbole.
No, it's not. The key structural detail. Content from individual campuses chapters is vetted by each chapter's student leaders and is not edited by the national team. So the USB Misandry article went through whatever editorial process a group of undergraduates at one campus decided to run with no adult review. Well, okay. I'm getting Claude to give this, punished Claude to give this summary. I think that if you're in a college, presumably you're an adult. So I'm guessing there's some progressive framework that, you know, makes it so that people in college are no longer considered adults, but I think they are. So basically that's where this is coming from. It is a student paper, but it is we're still looking at a national online magazine founded by Harvard undergraduates. I don't know if they ended up being graduates. And it operates marketing and PR for firms, and apparently doesn't care that it's publishing hate speech towards men. Or I guess we're not allowed to say that, as we're not allowed to point that out. It actually gets worse. It gets more astoundingly worse. But let's continue.
All right. Well, I just want to say on the upside, Merriam-Webster recognizes misandry.
Misandry.
So there, like, I think that, like, that's even, despite how insane this article is probably going to get, that is a massive win all by itself. Like, we're actually acknowledging this exists, right? And that's a big thing. All right. The misandrist method. Immediately intrigued, I went from aimlessly scrolling to being intently focused on the video. LTP explains that her daughter will inevitably be subjected to growing up in a patriarchal society and that she wants her daughter to go into the world with an inflated sense of self. Wow, that's a self-report. LTP has deliberately selected female providers to be part of her young daughter's life, whether as her doctor, dentist, or other professional. I'm going to open this in another tab. I kind of want to know what this article is. Here is a stock photo of a female doctor giving a female student the vax. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. A jab of some kind. Probably an mRNA vaccine. This so far seemed effective. LTP then goes on to say that her daughter recently asked her if men could also be singers. On a more serious note, she states that she, quote, knows the world is going to beat her daughter down, end quote, and so she wants to make sure that her daughter won't stand for it.
Okay, all right. So this is a mother who's basically teaching her daughter that she's a victim of the world, and the solution is narcissistic supply from her mother.
Do you want to see the TikTok video where she says this? We can go right to the mom.
Oh my God. Okay, but you realize you're opening up the door for extreme cattiness, right?
Yes. Do you guys want to see the video? I'm going to ask the chat if they want to see the actual video that this thing is referencing.
Do you want to see this video?
Yeah. It's not long. It's TikTok. TikTok videos are usually short, right? They're like for short attention spans.
No, they're not. They're not excessively long. That's true.
Well, I mean, it's cancer, but like, well, I don't even know. I haven't watched it. I just saw that when I clicked on the link, it opened her TikTok. So yeah, we're gonna do it.
Okay, we're doing it.
All right, I'm gonna do it. All right, here we go. Let's take a listen. This is short. Let's just let the whole thing play.
If you didn't scroll after I said that, then let me tell you why I'm doing this and how.
Oh, the music. Okay, well, first of all, she starts off with Crazy Eye. Did you notice that? At the very, very beginning.
Oh, yeah, right. I'm teaching my daughter to be a misandrist.
Keep going.
Okay, I'm going to play it.
My 5-year-old daughter to be a misandrist. If you didn't scroll after I said
there you go.
Then let me tell you why I'm
that little flash of like psychotic anger.
My daughter is going to grow up in a patriarchal society.
See,
just like I did
inculcating
as
with
a
victim.
millennial. And I will
Oh,
Boy,
she's
it
a
really
millennial. Of course. Okay.
there's no legal double standards that do not affect men at this point. There's a whole corpus of legal protections for women that are women exclusive, but there is no double standard affecting women in law. There is no double standard affecting women in college administrations. There is no double standard affecting women in terms of employment, right? There is no way ever that women will shut up about being oppressed by society. It gets them too much stuff. Somehow telling men that their men are not giving them enough gets men who are not interested in giving women anything more stuff. So this is just I want to say damaged person, but I think I'm being generous. She is probably a narcissist, or she's a ASPD, so antisocial personality disorder. But yeah, this is not healthy. Anyway.
Yeah, I think she is well, she's on TikTok, so she's making videos to get engagement. But let's hear the rest of it.
Her to go into the world with an inflated sense of self. Her doctors, her dentist, any sort of healthcare provider that we go to, I always make sure is a woman. I mostly listen to female artists out of preference. And the other day she asked me if men could be singers too. And I said yes. And I know the world is going to beat her down. And I want to make sure that
the world is going to beat her down.
Yeah.
So essentially she's creating this situation where she is the only one who has access to her child's sense of self-worth, and everybody else. So you see what I'm saying? She's doing the abuser thing.
Mm-hmm.
You will never get love from anyone but me. You'll never get value from anyone but me. You'll never get appreciation from anybody but me. And there are women, no doubt, in these comments lauding her for this, celebrating her for this, clapping at what she is doing.
She got 108,000 likes.
108,000 likes.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And 13,000 people have bookmarked it, which I guess that's what that means, like their favorite.
And people say that the manosphere is a problem. Like this is what's insane. You are watching child abuse right in front of you, and there's a whole bunch of women liking it and bookmarking it and applauding it and taking notes. This is child abuse. And we're all just watching. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, it's so beautiful. And it's being enabled by feminism. And I'm guessing if we go through the comments, there'll be a distinct lack of anybody calling this shit out for what it is. She's crippling her daughter. For what reason? Probably because she hates her father. She probably thinks she hates her father. So what we're seeing is a mother who's crippling her daughter. She is abusing her daughter. She's turning her daughter, making it dependent. She's telling her daughter, no one will ever love you. Your dad doesn't love you. The world doesn't love you. Only I can love you. And she's doing it probably because she hates the father. What part of this is something we should celebrate? What part of it? How about the fact she's using her daughter as a pawn in a power struggle with the dad? And that's obvious. How about she's breaking her daughter's trust in the world around her? How about she's forcing her daughter into a codependent and no doubt parentified role with her? So she is engaging in emotional abuse. What part of this is something we should shout to the hills, oh, we should celebrate this. This is wonderful. It's maternal. It's beautiful. Look at the bond between mother and child. This is disgusting. And the fact that our society produces this and it gets upvoted and people write articles and they celebrate it, it really disturbs me. And you know what? There's nothing Andrew Tate could do that disturbs me as much as this. And the fact that the media focuses on that instead of this. Because this is a woman with a child she is destroying. And nobody stands up and says that's wrong. Well, nobody with any clout. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Child abuse really pisses me off.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just figured since the article is mostly going to regurgitate what she's saying, and it's shorter, we might as well get it right from the horse's mouth.
Sure.
Or the moon man's mouth. Okay, let's play the rest.
Right? So I've told her that women are smarter than men, that men take power, but women have innate power inside of us. But in society, we don't always have power. And
women have innate power.
Yes, of course. She watched a movie about it.
Women are smarter than men. Okay, where does that come from? Where does that innate power come from, you dead-eyed psychopath? Right? Oh, good Lord, it's creepy as... Where does it come from, this innate power? Is it part of the bile? Does it come from the tits? Is that where it's situated? Does it come lower? Like, where does the unique power of women come from? Ugh.
Yeah. Wild. Okay.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Women are better leaders.
You can't even parent a child. Like, we're watching a fucking oxytocin poisoned macrophage consume a child. And she has the audacity to say women are better leaders. Well, you are a case study that is not true. Macrophage. Or should I say matrophage?
That's kind of a classy insult.
Macrophage.
You macrophage. Slap her with a glove. Take that, you devouring macrophage.
She did tell me that.
Oh God.
Dad.
Can you stop for a second?
Oh, so there you go. The dad's not there. So this is I knew it.
Can I do my victory lap now? Guys?
Yeah.
Do you see this? Do you see what this is really about? Do you see what this is? Can you imagine being this creature's father? Sorry, not the creature. Sorry, this creature's partner, the man who inseminated this, like monster from the freaking Black Lagoon. Like, could you imagine that? Guys? You really need to up your standards, because these women do not need to get pregnant. But who the hell knows what happened there? Right? Who maybe he didn't even consent. I wouldn't be surprised. But do you see like the expressions she's making? They're repulsive. Like they're just no. I'm sorry. I'm just viscerally disgusted.
I get it.
But you see what happened? I said that it has nothing to do with the girl. It has everything to do with the father. She is torturing her child in order to torture the father. Right? She's turning her child into a weapon in order to get at the father. And there are people in these comments. How do you not lose faith in women? I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
How I'm like sitting here, I'm like, glad I'm not a man. Because I can have a husband. You're stuck with this. Well, not all of you, of course. There's, I guess, some get lucky. But holy shit. All right, let's keep going.
All right, let's keep going.
She told her dad that women are smarter than men.
Oh, look.
That girls are smarter than boys. And she told me, well, dad has smart. I'm divorced, if you can't tell.
Ugh.
And
Yeah, I can tell, you disgusting.
Yeah, I know, right? So are you just like gonna basically ruin your daughter's life by telling her lies about reality because you're mad at your ex-husband? Who hurt you? Who
Okay,
hurt
but
you?
she's telling her daughter that reality, that people and that men, or the most important thing is the status competition. Well, and also she's probably giving off the feeling like to her daughter that the only reason why she's doing this is to get at the father. And I get the sense that she told the father this, but then she's like sort of pushing back on the mother. I think we'll have to listen to this again. I want to make sure I get this right, because she thinks her dad is smart. And you know what I really hope there would be a lovely happy ending here, is if well, this would probably only exist in my utopia, but Family Protective Services saw this and gave him full custody. Of course, that'll never happen because they don't know their ass from their elbow. But really, at this point, she shouldn't be having access to this child.
Yeah.
Right? Unless the father, and I don't think, it doesn't sound like the father is worse, but let's go back and hear that again. Like
Okay.
the interaction. Only a few.
Like before, like what his daughter talked to his dad?
Yeah, when the daughter.
And
Yeah, right there.
women are smarter than men. That girls are smarter than boys. And she told me, well, dad has smart. I'm divorced, if you can't tell. And
Dad as smart. Okay, so that's not actually.
Dad
not-
is smart, I think she meant to say.
Yeah, so the girl is pushing back.
Yeah.
The girl is pushing back. She's
Well,
not relaying. She says the girl said something to her father. So the implication is that the father said something back. I don't think the father's engaging with it. The girl is pushing back.
mhm.
That sounds like it. She's saying, no, my father is smart. Dad is smart. Right? She's pushing back against the wicked witch. Right? So what does she do in that case? When her own daughter is, as opposed, her 5-year-old daughter is saying, no, mom, you're wrong. Your misandry is wrong. What does she do? Do you think that she just takes that lying down? Let's hear. Let's see what she says next.
like, why are you teaching your kid this? But to me, this is a lesson that I wish that I had had.
You don't need to be told you're smart because it is false.
Yeah.
It is 100% false.
Okay, let's she's gonna tell us like how this
because
is
she
God's
grew
fault,
up
I guess.
Christian. Oh.
Yeah, she's gonna tell us how this is God's fault. So
in the deep south, and it took me so long to unlearn all of these things as a woman. It took me so long to step into my power. I am 38 and I feel like I've just done that in the past
38?
And I don't
Jesus
want
Christ.
my daughter taking shit.
you know, it's funny. She just said, "I grew up Christian in the Deep South." She didn't say anything negative, like, "Oh, this is what I was taught. This is what I learned." It's just like it's assumed. I'm in the South and I was raised Christian. Automatically, that just comes with a bunch of baggage. People are just supposed to assume, "Oh my God, I know what that's like." No details, no specifics, no arguments, just just like a knowing eye, and then we're supposed to just get, and so that gives you license to act like this to your daughter. That's insane. Okay, but anyway, she's got SSR eyes. All right, let's finish this up.
I taught her about consent, about boundaries.
5? What? Wait, what?
Yeah, 5-year-olds need to learn about consent. Yeah.
What
How
are
did
you
you?
fucking? No, but seriously, this needs a question here. Now, I guess you could frame it in a way that doesn't feel predatory or grooming, like maybe, don't, there are certain places that adults shouldn't touch you, stuff like that. But taught about consent, that, I don't know, that language
Yeah,
just seems
I know what you
sus.
mean. That's weird. If you're gonna let a boy touch you, then
No, I mean,
or a girl
yeah,
for that matter.
it taught about consent, right? Okay, well, when you're 5, right, the conversation about how consent assumes that you are sexually active, no? Right? Like,
Yes. I mean, I think that feminists would say that there could be conversations about consent before sexual, I
yeah,
guess,
but those aren't
awareness even
conversations
like
about consent.
arises.
Those aren't
Yeah, but feminists
conversations
would
about
say that
consent.
because they're about trying to control, that environment from as early as possible,
But
assuming the
here's my
baby hasn't been
problem with the
aborted.
framing.
No, I know. Go
Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
here's my problem with the framing. Consent assumes that it's okay to say yes to the activity. It's like, why are you teaching your 5-year-old about sexual consent? You should be teaching them adults don't touch you there ever, period. And if they do, tell me. Right? You get what I'm saying? Not this is the situation in which Lolita, you give enthusiastic consent to Humperdinck. That you don't teach a child that, because there's no situation in which yes is acceptable, and consent is about situation. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
That this shouldn't be a conversation about consent. It should be a conversation about boundaries. Right? And so I don't know. Maybe you're saying that this is how they would frame a conversation about boundaries, but even so, like, their thinking is sloppy in a way that makes me uncomfortable. I'll just put it
Mm-hmm.
that way.
Oh, I
All
get
right,
it.
let's keep.
All right.
Preparing my daughter for battle, okay? Because that is what the world is
What?
offering her, especially if what we are looking at in this administration
This
continues.
woman is insane.
What?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think your daughter is going to be drafted to go to Iran? Like,
No, I no. Like it's obvious that it's just.
your daughter's going to be 8, okay, when the next president is installed,
Yeah.
right? I think that. And what the hell battle? You mean the battle of oh, little Julie, you see, mommy could have had aborted you. Like, but the Trump administration forced me to give birth to you. And you are part of the patriarchal oppression that mommy experienced. What? Because that's the battle they're talking about, right? Why the hell would you bring your child into a conversation like that?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. I think there's something wrong with this individual.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah, for sure. I
let's
think
keep
it's
going.
well. There's a little bit left.
I don't want her to grow up in that world, but that is our
Oh,
reality. So that
no,
is
it's
why I'm
not.
teaching my daughter to be a misandrist.
You're using your child as a tool and a weapon. You're teaching her that the only source of value is you, and that the world is against her. And then you're doing that because you want to get back at her father, presumably for divorcing your psychotic ass. Like, I mean, if there was ever a TikTok video that was like, a man just shows, and I mean, it's like, why'd you get divorced? And he just shows this. And everybody's like, oh, well, that explains it.
Mm-hmm.
She just did a TikTok on why she got divorced, and why she was divorced. If she was the one if he was the one who was divorcing her, which I hope he woke up one day and said, you are not human. You crawled out of a pit at some point. Like, you just emerged from a cesspit and then formed into a human. And I just didn't realize it till this moment. Like, I know this is like really aggressive, but I fucking hate this. I hate that people are cheering this. This woman destroying her child and turning her into a weapon against the father. Okay. You
Yeah.
want to finish the article?
Yeah, let's go back to the article. I just wanted to show that. Okay, so where was I? She explained that as a girl growing up in the Deep South in a Christian and conservative family, it took her a long time to unlearn the very thing she is now telling her daughter the opposite of. Ultimately, LTP describes what she is doing as preparing her daughter for battle, especially under America's current administration. Public reactions. The comments under LTP's post were generally supportive. One woman who had clearly taken a similar approach to parenting said that her son thinks all doctors and dentists are women. So there's somebody in the comments raising a son under this same ideology.
Yep.
Another commenter emphasized the importance of monitoring the role religion can play in young children's lives by saying she needs to make sure her daughter never feels that, quote, Eve is the reason for a bad world because that's where it starts for many, end quote. Other commenters pushed the discussion further, asking things like, is it an inflated sense of self or proper self-worth? Or even telling LTP that what she's doing isn't encouraging misandry, but rather a necessary measure called overcorrecting, which is needed in our currently damaged society.
And nobody cares. Nobody cares that what is actually happening, which is she's weaponizing her daughter against the daughter's father.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
we're
there
gonna
are some
go
really angry women in these comments. I'm looking at the comments on the original TikTok video. Oof, there is a lot of anger. Okay, what were you gonna say?
Well, the person who talks about her son, I think this is what I'm referencing in the thumbnail, and we're gonna have to cover it if you can find it. But have we
The
finished?
comment. Okay, I will look when I.
Did you? Yeah,
I'll finish the article first. All right. There was, as there always is in online discourse, a small percentage of viewers whose feathers were ruffled by the term misandry. One person, while still agreeing by saying the creator's message is 100% correct, did say that words matter and that misandry and misogyny are two sides of the same hateful coin. So basically a limp dick response, probably from maybe a man that was like, you go girl, but that's wrong, which is kind of stupid and wishy-washy. Under that comment,
I wish that the human race's future wasn't in the hands of these creatures.
Yeah, right. I like civilization. I'd like it to keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big fucking mistake, guys. We made a big mistake. And somehow the fact that women's collective choices are going to end us. I mean, we're probably not going to end the human race. We may continue on as hunter-gatherers of some kind of description, but going to end this social project that got this far. Because why? Because not all men can be in the top 5% of men, right? And if they were, we'd need another 5 Earths plus to be able to handle the material wants of women. Like we're going to hold the future of the human race hostage until every man is in the top 5% of men. Okay, well, everything we've sacrificed for, everything our grandfathers and grandmothers sacrificed for, the future girls that will have to live in the disaster you produce. I know you don't care about the boys, but do you care about the girls? No, none of that. None of that matters. None of it. Because these women can never get enough. They need another 5 Earths of shit in order to have children. But of course, if you give them another 5 Earths of shit, they probably still won't have children. It's like what do you I mean, I think I figured out what's wrong. I could tell you. It's actually it's basically the endocrine explanation of something I've observed and told you guys for years. Women in the past were more likely to have children, and they're in harsher circumstances. And I thought it was because, they would be working, they would have they would be in farms, the maids, whatever else they were doing, but they had the traditional belief that they were, contributing to a family. And so they had developed that kind of an adult relationship to other people. You're not just a node in a web passively receiving the tidal resources. You are a person who has a family who you invest in, and it's a specific family. And I didn't even realize, but what I was talking about was that under survival pressure or stress, existential threat, whatever, women's V1A, it looks like this is what was happening in the past, V1A activated so that they could pair bond, that they could develop what men do naturally, which is specificity, targets for your custodial protection, right? That kind of thing. And now that women are so comfortable, they live in an oxytocin soup that demands nothing of them. So they never get their V1A activated and develop the specificity, the necessary to create a pair bond. And I'm starting to think that women do not want to have children until after they've pair bonded, which makes perfect sense evolutionarily. So if you do not get women pair bonded to men, you will not get children. And this follows with single mothers. Single mothers are the least reproductive. Like if you just have a community of single mothers, they have the lowest reproduction rate. Even though it seems like it's high, it's not. The highest reproduction rate is in families with a mother and father. Right? So the first step for women to become maternal is to get them pair bonded. And if they do not have V1 activation through some form of survival stress, they don't have the architecture to pair bond. So it seems like what happens, guys, is a civilization reaches a critical mass of comfort. It's women don't develop the ability to pair bond. It implodes, and then we have a dark age. That seems to be what's happening. Because, and the reason why is that? Because the comfortable situation has to disappear in order for the V1A activation to start up again, and then start pair bonding again. And I'm saying this because I'm getting a new piece of the puzzle. There's this study that's actually showing the connection between the increase in comfort and gender equality, which I think gender equality is probably just a manifestation of people having nothing better to do. Yep. And so there's this connection. There's a paper going around showing it. And it just occurs to me that that's sort of the way it goes. And that we are going in the same path unless we can figure that out. And one of the interesting things is the paper covers all of this and looks at Scandinavia, Europe, and all the Western places that have had this massive increase in physical comfort. But it doesn't mention Israel. Now, I'm not talking about politics, okay, guys? But there is one thing interesting about Israel. Israel is breeding. Like the birth rate in Israel, despite it being effectively a Western country, is I think now at 3.2. And what's really interesting is that one of the highest, even if you take out the Orthodox Jewish women, and you look at non-Orthodox, their rate of having children is 2.2, which is now completely unheard of in Western culture, like Western countries. 2.2 is literally where everybody wants to be and isn't for the West, right? And what's interesting about that is that group, the more secular Jewish women, are also the group that tends to go into the army more. And my hypothesis is that is actually increasing the rate. That is the source of their V1A activation and why they are parabonding and why they're subsequently having children. And in the past, again, it probably would have been things like having to run a farm, knowing if you don't get the harvest in, you might all starve. Stuff like that that kind of stress would have activated it. And it makes sense, right? Because what do you do when you have stress? You want to have a partner to deal with it. And that's the way it goes. And it explains why Israel is the outlier, because they are under a constant existential threat. Again, not talking about the politics, just talking about endocrine realities. They're on constant existential threat, and they have a large population of women who are putting themselves close to the threat. That could be explaining it, which would explain why civilizations have to collapse back into a state of survival threat before they start breeding again. So there you go. The history of humanity. Be great if we could just figure out a better way. But the problem is that these women who are oxytocin generalists, they don't know what they're missing because they've never had it activated. They're just they're warm and affiliative, and they don't give a fuck about anybody.
Yep.
All right.
All right, I got a super chat from Senior Sticks, and he gives us $2 and says, "What if all lady feminists just marry themselves?" Well, I mean, they kind of are doing that, and you could say it's a self-correcting problem, except some of them have kids and they pass it on to them, and then those kids go on to grow up and hurt the people in their life. So it's not a self-correcting problem without some collateral damage along the way. So, all right, thank you for the super chat, and we're gonna get back to this. All right. Well, I personally don't know if the true definition of misandry aligns with what LTP preaches. I understand why she headlined the video the way she did. Not only does it draw immediate attention to the video, which I deem important to be seen, but it also opens the door to a discourse about the weight of words. And I think attention was like one of the primary reasons she made the video, because we underestimate how much women use social media purely to get attention of any kind. Like if she could show her asshole online and get a bunch of clicks, she would, but she can't because she's getting up there and she's not the best looking person. So instead she posts rage bait online, or at least it's rage bait insofar as there will be some people who be like, I don't think that's cool. And she'll be like, victory. And all of her subscribers will be like, yeah, so it's just like, well, anyway, I'm not going to get too much into it, but I think there's also some mate suppression going on too. Like she's basically going to kill her daughter's chances of finding a man if her daughter picks up her lessons and runs with it. And also probably alienate her from her father, because that's what it looks like is going on because of the divorce. But anyway, yeah.
If the daughter is already pushing back, I'd be more worried.
For now, but she's only 5. So like, think about it. Like the tactics are only going to get dirtier from here. There'll probably be like tactics to alienate her from her biological father, constantly shit talking him. Anytime he makes a mistake, it'll probably be like hyper amplified. Anytime she makes a mistake, it'll be because of him. I'm saying that this kind of thing is very pernicious, especially again when you're 5 years old. Yeah, she's got questions, but I think that there's still plenty of room for mom to really propagandize her daughter. I mean,
well, of course, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's also plenty of room for mom to actively abuse her daughter too, because her
Yeah.
daughter, she says, "Oh, you're taking your dad's side." This is disgusting behavior. Even if it's rage bait, even if she's just like, "I'm gonna do this just to make people pissed." First of all, I'm not convinced she doesn't believe it genuinely. Um, but also she's turning this personal situation and her daughter, she's using her daughter as a public weapon for attention. Like it's this is this behavior is so repulsive. And I resist. I know it sounds weird. I resist being like, okay, this is women. This is what women are.
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm trying to resist it, but when I look at the architecture,
Well,
this,
what do we encourage is really what it
yeah,
is, right?
what do we encourage?
What kind of behavior in women is what is encouraged?
But
So,
also, yes, this is what is encouraged, but also this is the behavior of putting women in this artificial situation where they never have parts of their brain activated in a way that makes them realize that this is horrible, that to treat your child as a weapon or a signal in your social web is horrible because your child is a person. You see, this is what's really ironic about this whole messaging. It's men, vasopressin, and women's V1A activation that makes them realize that other people are individuals, with their own wants and needs, that there's specificity there. So she doesn't even see her daughter as someone separate from herself. And that is a big failure mode for women when they're oxytocin dominant, because they don't see other people as people. They see them as nodes in a web and resources to exploit. Right? And in order to have that specificity, in order to say, okay, this is a person with her own wants and needs, that my daughter is a person, and what I am doing is wrong because I am violating her as a person by using her as a resource, she'd have to have V1A activation, and she doesn't. So it makes perfect sense to her to use her daughter as a resource.
hmm.
And it's sick. Like, it's repulsive behavior. And I'm just like, and it is what women do if they don't have survival threat activating their V1A.
Yeah.
I mean, it could also be the incentives as well, of course, but then who's creating the incentives for this behavior? Other women in the social web. More and more thinking that the only thing that matters is signaling, positioning, determining who's in and out, using each other as resources, being seen, and that actually there is no actual people here. There's no people, just the web puppeting
Hmm.
everyone. Okay, sorry, let's keep
All
going.
right. As some commenters argued, putting misandry on the same plane as misogyny devalues misandry in its sense as used by LTP. Misandry as a tool, I believe that misandry can be used more flexibly as an idea. Not only do I believe that in general, misandry in its true definition is a valid prejudice due to the billions of distasteful actions committed by men every second, but that it can be used as a conceptual vessel for feminist projects, such as that of LTP.
On a video in which a woman is using her daughter, emotionally abusing her daughter and turning her daughter into a social resource and a weapon, we're talking about how it's justified because men do things, you see. Men are criminals, but they're also the police, the prosecutors, the jailers, and the other criminals who enforce at least certain amounts of norms on each other, because criminals still punish rapists and child molesters, right? So even criminals enforce the basic norms on other criminals, right? So we have all of those men, like like the thing is that we talk about antisocial personality disordered men being sexually aggressive or sexually violent, but the truth is that most of them do non-violent property crimes or robbery. You know, like it's not that most ASPD men, most antisocial personality disordered men do not engage in the most stigmatized and repulsive forms of crime, which is child molestation and rape. Even they don't. Even they will actually punish men who do. And they are on the outlier of not caring about people. Okay? And this woman is using that, the rare man who treats other people, get this, listen to this. The rare man who treats other people as resources in his social web to extract from, they are treating the existence of that man, ignoring all of the other men who bear down on him to stop and punish him, which is the vast majority of men. And they're using the existence of that man to justify this woman crushing her daughter, turning her daughter into a weapon, into a resource, extracting use out of her daughter for her own malevolent ends. That's what they're fucking doing.
Yeah.
I think we're looking at evil.
Yeah. You might say that. But wait, there is no such thing as objective evil. All right, anyway, no, there is. And I think that's what it is, yes. It starts with the worship of the self. It's self-idolatry. But I digress. I did get a super chow.
Oh, we did. So maybe it is working.
I'll read that. From Konoko's evil twin, who gives us $5 and says, Allison, any chance you could point Carl and the Lotus Eaters to the research Women's Endocrinology? I think Josh Fern, formerly of Lotus Eaters, might have the best background for it. Well, I don't know why you guys think we have like the direct line to Carl and the Lotus Eaters, but I'm flattered. We used to get Sargon on sometimes, but he's not as easy to reach as he used to be. So, you know, but I don't know if Allison, you wanted to say anything about that.
So essentially take the thing that I've discovered and tell him.
Yeah.
To what end, really? I guess I mean if he ever takes an interest in the stuff that we do, he'll find it. And again, I'm not going to send an email to this guy saying, "Hey, I found this I have discovered this hypothesis. Are you interested in that?" He might be, but it'd probably be better if I just laid it out in an essay and he just came upon it.
Well, I mean, look, I think the way these things usually work is people are talking in the space. Eventually, someone will see this and share it with someone, will share it with someone, who will share it with someone, and then maybe he'll get it. And then what they do with it is up to them. I mean, like, we're not like an organization or a network or a community or anything like that, right? So I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, yeah, it'd be nice if they saw it, but yeah.
If I were to tell him, I'd probably want to put it into an essay and explain where it's coming from, because the connections that I'm making from V1A activation to the destruction of the birth rate, I don't know what else to call it, the implosion of the birth rate. Nobody else is making this connection. They're all making the connection with gender equality, feminism, which, you know, that is, although I'm starting to think it's an emergent property of comfort and everybody just eating their own brains, but and also other stuff that I can get into. But as far as I know, nobody's making this connection. And what I would want to do is probably lay it out in an essay explaining the logic and where it's coming from. Because this is
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish. No. It's okay. I was gonna go say something else.
This is a study that needs a lot more work in terms of human beings and endocrinology.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I know people who would be interested in it. But I think that this is the thing. Like, everybody in this space, we don't all have the exact same goals, and we're not all working with the exact same information, and we don't actually have the exact same opinions on things. So like you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Now, somebody in the chat says Dr. Radamercan probably has him on speed dial. I know that that's hyperbolic, but I don't think Mike can reach Sargon that easily. Even though, yes, they know each other. He knows me. He knows Allison. He's been on our show back in the day. But like he's doing other things right now. They're concerned about what's happening in the UK with immigration and this and the whole like climate there. And yes, he's talking about pro-natalist things. And so I'm sure that at some point it will come around, but we can't make that happen. Like I can probably tell if Allison did give me something of a document, I can probably give it to Simone and Malcolm Collins, and they probably look at it because they're very much interested in this too. And they're kind of like nerdy autists. So, but they might take away something different. And we have to be okay with that because it's an ever expanding conversation. I mean, I don't know how else to look at it. We just can't, so that's why I don't really see the point in getting upset that not everyone lines up exactly with us. I don't think that we're absolutely right. I think that we're spitballing and figuring things out. And no, I know, but I'm just saying like, it's a conversation,
I'm just saying that if I were to talk to this Josh Ferney and just say, "Oh, have you looked into V1A activation?" I think that it would just be like, "Oh, that's a thing." I think it needs to be laid out, and well, I mean, I'm laying it out as an argument with you guys, but I think it would have to be laid out in like an essay or something.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Yeah. Let's move on. Oh, right. I do have a thank you to give to Richard Bier. Put in $1,000. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Richard.
I will eat your ass.
Oh, that was no, Brian.
Not literally. I will eat my neighbors.
My superpower, to be honest, I will eat my neighbors.
All right. If it gets down to it, if everything collapses.
Yes.
Ed Love says Sargon's last couple of videos have been MRA adjacent. I don't know. Some people in the chat would probably disagree with you very harshly on this. But yes, I get that he's moving in that direction. And he's always been sympathetic to men's rights issues. He's always been sympathetic to them. He just doesn't. I think what his issue is with the more like red pill manosphere guys, because they're not red pill guys, even though they describe themselves as such. They're just blue pill guys. You'll find out. Paul Elam has a series coming up pretty soon. He's going to destroy them. But anyway, Allison, go ahead.
Oh, maybe it'll take the form of what I was. The reason why Rollo blocked me when I pointed out that if you judge men by performing for women, that you are centering men's identities around women.
Yes, women's approval specifically.
Yeah, women's approval. Blocked. I still find that amusing.
Yeah, we got blocked by the guy who created us. Us. We became the monster, rose up and attacked its creator. The man who created everything the red pill is, Mr. Rollo Tomasi himself. He had to block Allison because the monster turned on her creator. So
or something. Okay.
Something Frankenstein.
Yeah, I still find that hilarious. I'm sure that I'm offending somebody out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's like Rollo shills in our comments.
Right now, or
no. In the past.
There have been, sure, no, for sure, yeah. It's okay. They can hang out, but this is what I'm saying. Sure. Like Rollo's been around for a long time, and I'm not saying that he's not smart, but like we're not lined up on everything. We're not the same at all, right?
We're not the same. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, if I were to give this to someone, I'd want to have it as an essay, so that it's the.
Well, if you do get something together, send it to me, and I'll give it to Malcolm and Simone. I think they have a lot of reach, and I think they could make something with it. Those people I know I can get in contact with. Sargon, I don't know. So.
Well, we probably could, honestly.
Yeah, we probably could if we really wanted to. Sure.
But I don't really want to bug him. That's the thing. Like I don't want to
unless
bug
you have
him
something substantial.
With something substantial. I don't want to bug him with a half-formed thought. And I don't think it's half-formed, but it would, like you put it in.
It just needs a little bit more refinement.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Needs to put it back in the oven for a little while longer. I get you.
But yeah, I want to talk a bit more about this topic on Friday, and
Okay.
and that particular paper. But yeah, let's finish the article off and
All
see
right,
that
let's do the
comment.
article. Yeah, let's try. I believe that misandry can be used more flexibly as an idea. Not only do I believe that in general, misandry in its true definition is a valid prejudice due to the billions of distasteful actions committed by men every second, but that it can be
Distasteful.
used as a that it can be used as a conceptual vessel for feminist projects such as that of LTP, feminist project of indoctrinating your child. Okay. In addition, misandry as a concept can allow women the opportunity to share their experiences with men, many negative. In my experience, this kind of chatter can range from meaningful to hilarious to even impactful. My roommate Piper's TikTok account, we're talking about TikTok accounts, so silly. My roommate Piper's TikTok account resides under the handle at Recovering Misandrist. However, she recently informed me that due to a bad encounter, she now considers herself to have relapsed in this journey. Sounds like she has bad taste in men. As for myself, I was lucky enough to live the kind of life that LTP hopes for her child. I spent my early childhood with my dad working from home, and he did more traditionally feminine tasks than any mom who had long work days and a rougher commute. Or than my mom, she's saying. Okay.
Long work days and a rougher commute. Huh. Is there some So, but are you trying to say that staying at home is
Is
not the most
feminine.
difficult job in the world?
Yeah, that's
Suddenly now
interesting.
that a man is doing it.
Was your dad bending over at the waist putting DVDs into DVD players?
Okay, so let's hear this. Okay,
All
so
right.
she had more direct paternal investment in her youth and her and she credits that as being better than Southern Christian upbringing. Okay. Except
Yeah.
that feminists are trying to make it so that fathers have no right to their children. All right, let's keep
Yeah.
going.
I grew up with my dad doing lots of cleaning, making my lunches, and making me breakfast every morning, and often making our family dinners. Yeah, because men don't cook anything ever. I make breakfast for Lindsay every morning before she goes to work, and she makes dinner when she comes home. Am I feminine now? Is that
No.
like if Lindsay like left and I had to cook my own food, would I just become a woman? Aren't men make the
No.
best chefs?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I do think growing up, that's why I'm like what bugs me about it is that it's so arbitrary. Like they're just like these are feminine things and these are masculine things. Are they? I don't think that I don't think that's true. I think there's just things. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, I do think growing up in the liberal bubble of Portland, Oregon must have had an impact on my confidence as a young girl. And I can even remember being confused when
Not your
reading dated
dad.
books. No.
Not
For
not
example,
the not having a dad who was very involved. No, it was your no, you know what, I can actually tell you from the statistics. It was because you had an involved dad. That's it.
no, it was Portland, Allison.
No, it was not Portland.
It was Portland. It was Portland that did this. Not a father that was involved in her life all the time and like helped raise her. No, no, no. It was just the city she was in.
God, what ridiculous people.
Okay. For example, where someone makes a crack at the female protagonist's bravery or intelligence. Oh, it's being confused with reading dated books. Whatever. I remember being puzzled because, as far as I've been told, women were braver, more curious, and more intelligent. The difference here is that as a woman, I never thrust this viewpoint upon others negatively. I never felt
You
the
just
urge to
did.
tell boys I knew that I felt better than them because although I was raised in a way that normalized women in power, I was still raised to believe equality in every sense. Well, before I get to that last paragraph, what if her dad treated her like a princess and like kind of
Yeah.
gassed her up as a father? I mean, like
Yeah,
men with children love their children and they will instill things in their boys and their girls. but you could take that too far with girls, especially if they were living in Portland and he had those kind of values. So what if that is, I mean, it's obviously because yes, involved dad, but what if he like made her feel a little bit too self-important? Like didn't
Yeah, well,
humble
that's
her at
entirely
all.
possible. That's
Yeah.
entirely possible, but I want to also point something out. These people constantly talk about how they're all about equality, and yet I felt that I was superior as a woman, and this woman teaching her daughter superiority, um, this isn't equality, right? Can we finally just admit that these people have no interest in equality? Because every time you catch them doing something, it's inequality. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what's women's empowerment? Feeling like they're better than men. Okay, that's not equality. Every time you shine the flashlight on them, you catch their hand in the inequality cookie jar. You see what I'm saying, Brian? It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they once again. I see you are once again with your hand in the inequality cookie jar, and the women are superior cookie jar. I'm starting to believe that your intent and your goals have nothing to do with actual equality. Okay.
All right.
And I know that equality is also ridiculous, but even if it was,
Yeah.
let's just assume it wasn't.
Okay.
They're lying about what they're doing.
The comment on LTP's post about overcorrecting resonates with me in relation to my upbringing in a world where men were centralized. No matter how sneakily or subtly, a message is silently sent out to our brains about power dynamics. This is why a little aggression, or misandry, if you will, is necessary when it comes to reclaiming and recentering female power.
How are men centralized? They
I
never
have no idea.
operationalize that. They never explain yourself, madam.
Are there comments in this article? I thought you said there were comments.
I think it's not comments on the TikTok,
Oh,
but
on the
maybe not.
TikTok. Yeah, yeah. No, I don't. No, there are comments on the TikTok. I was just looking to see if there's comments here. All right,
I'll
let
get
me
it for you if you
go.
can't
Go
find
ahead
it.
and no, I'm gonna look for the comments. You go ahead and finish your thought about that while I look for it.
Well, actually, my thought is finished, so I'm all I can offer is awkward silence at this point. All
All
right,
right,
well,
there is a
I'll do
woman.
analysis.
Okay, let's go back to this then. There is a woman here named Jessica who says, "I have two boys. I'm trying to teach them to be good humans. Male misandrists matter. It's our lofty responsibility as boy moms to teach our sons to dismantle the patriarchy. We must raise compassionate, emotionally intelligent, capable men who value and respect femininity. I teach my son that a man's role is to support women and to support women's his role is anything that needs to be done to uplift, support, and help women because we are the creators." Wow. Wow. One boy and doing the same. We have to take the power back and show them how to be good, kind, empathetic people. Dude, the egos on display here are staggering. Like I am the only person that can show anyone how to be decent because that's how decent I am. Holy cow.
And they're just not even they're not even bothering to stop saying the silent part out loud. Like saying it silently. They're just right out there. Yeah, a man's place. Hey, little Timmy, a man's place is to serve women because they create life.
Oh, here's something though. Suddenly a wild dissenter appears. Will you teach him that if a grown woman rapes him as a teenager, he'll have to pay child support? Let me see. Is anyone going to reply to that? Looks like they ignored him. What does that mean, good humans? Nope, nobody even replied to it. This is how you break generational curses. What? As a man, this is fine. Simp! They're the worst, man. Those guys really piss me off.
Beta.
Yeah, because they're performative, right?
I know it's ridiculous. But it's weak. It's not substantial. There's no substance to it.
Well, yes, because it's performative. It's not
Yeah.
actual actions, which
Yeah,
honestly,
men who say
women,
that stuff, they're kind of also saying, I know that ultimately you're really weak and you're just like being loud online. So I'm just going to agree with you because I really am not threatened by you at all. That's kind of what they're
yeah.
doing, you know?
Well, they're also, like I said, it's words, right?
Yes.
These are words. They are actually probably the least expensive thing they could do. And here's the issue, right? Like from my research, men's protective behaviors are subcortical. Like they exist beneath words. So if you have a man beaking off like this about, women should be served, women should be protected, he's making a performance. And if he's making a performance, odds are he doesn't have the architecture underneath it. Right? If he is able to translate it into a performance, he is dividing his cognitive energy away from the actual action. And I guess this might be a little bit complicated, but men don't necessarily have verbal access to these kinds of architectural behaviors. So if he's able to talk about it, he probably doesn't have them. Or it's just everything that he's saying is performative and it doesn't fucking matter because what matters is the action, right? Maybe I'm mulching this up. I apologize, guys. Basically, what matters is the action. If you think that it's weak, it's because it is weak. All he's doing is performing. He's performing to a social web, right? Which is
Yes.
indicating that he sees himself as a node in a social web, sending out signals. Well, guess what? That's what sociopaths do. They also see themselves as, well, they probably see themselves as a center of a web, and everybody else is a node for resource extraction within it. And that they send out signals, and their signals are, when they're verbal, they have more fluidity with that because they don't have the architecture. They don't have to send cognitive resources down to giving a shit about anybody. So they can spend more with verbally signaling how wonderful they are and how much they approve of all of the web's pet projects and utopias. Okay, you get what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. No. It's
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, good.
they're
So
yes, it's signaling. It
it's
is
signaling
it's a
with
very easy
nothing
thing
behind
to
it.
do. There's
It
also
is
no
weak.
risk at all. You just say the right thing and then you move on. It doesn't cost you any energy.
No, it doesn't
It
cost you
doesn't
any energy.
yeah.
That's the thing. Like if it cost you energy, you wouldn't necessarily be signaling it.
No, you'd use
It
it
wouldn't.
wisely at least.
Yeah.
You consider
These,
it, but this doesn't cost anything. You just get to. And here's another thing too that's funny about this, and this is what I'm saying. Like simps don't get rewarded. He posted that as a man. This is fine, but they gave him shit anyways. I'm glad you got approval. Wink. Um, and then somebody says, "Whoo! So relieved a man decided to give approval." So like they're basically saying, "Oh, you're a man, huh?" And you say this is okay. Well, thanks for telling us it's okay to feel this way. So like even then you still get shit.
how
Like
dare?
well, there's no point because they
How
they
dare you consider
also
yourself
they
valid?
also take no risk in clapping back. So
How dare you consider yourself valid as a man?
supremacist ideology is never fine. We don't need your permission. They
Oh
not gonna
God.
let you hit, buddy. You
These
know.
guys are these women are parasites.
Mm-hmm.
They are the reason why the human race can't have nice things like a class 1 civilization. They're the reason why we can't capture the full energy of the sun, right? Or the earth. They're the reason why. Right? We don't have the federation. These freaking parasites and their social webs and being able to block any understanding of operative reality. Oh,
Okay, I got a couple super chats.
shit.
Albatross or a super chat and a Rumble rant. Albatross gave us $5 and says, so much of their rhetoric is anti-hetero and anti-relationships, and yet they keep getting married and having kids with men for $5. Thank you. Well, again, because their rhetoric costs them nothing, but it does get them attention, which is what they want. And it reminds me, it's like Bryony Claire. Bryony Claire will make videos endlessly telling women it's probably not a good idea to get married while she is married. It's a way to compete, to essentially eliminate the competition by telling her audience, you don't want any of this stuff that I'm doing right now. And even if there's no way that those women could be a threat to her status, it doesn't matter because she gets to knock them down a peg and look really good doing it, and it costs her nothing. So I think that's what this is too. This woman is not someone who is happy alone, because I looked at her other videos and she's got videos of her going on first dates with guys, and apparently it didn't work out. Somebody dodged a bullet.
Shocker.
And
Surprise!
and she's lamenting it, and of course continuing to blame all men for it. It's like, well, maybe you're a cunt. Maybe. I don't know. Well, okay. NovaFan21 gave us $1 on Rumble. Thank you, NovaFan. It says 21st century feminist. The Old Testament is anti-woman propaganda made to slander women. 22nd century feminists. Those TikTok feminist videos are anti-women propaganda made to slander women. Yeah, I guess so.
Who's saying that?
NovaFan. He's yeah. He's saying that these TikTok feminist videos are anti-women propaganda made to slander women.
I honestly, that would be a nice interpretation, but
yeah,
the problem is that this is what happens when women don't have any relationship with reality. Like none whatsoever. So I don't think that anybody's doing this to slander women. I think this is women who just think that this is appropriate behavior. And again, like the thing that really raised my ire are the women in the comments who are teaching their sons that men aren't competent and teaching them to serve women. You think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got the daughter, she's getting an inflated sense of self, except it's at the expense of somebody she cares about, which is her dad. I mean, let's look at that.
Well, here's one. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The daughter obviously cares about her father because she is defending him. Even if it's just 5 years old, and we know that the mother's going to do whatever she can to destroy her daughter. The daughter is defending her father. That means that she has a connection to him. And her mother is insulting someone who her daughter has a connection to, who cares about. She cares about her father. That's destructive in and of itself. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. Go ahead, Brian.
All right. I was going to read one of the other comments on the TikTok video. I think this might be the one you wanted me to find. So there's a post by someone named Fer, F-E-R, and they say, or she says, hey, I'm so definitely a misandrist, lol, but I've raised my son with so much love and respect and also information about feminism, and he just doesn't understand why girls hate him so much with no apparent reason. Cry emoji. That breaks my heart. And then the creator, the person who made the video, says, bless him. 2 of my daughter's besties are boys, so I don't think I've gone too hard. And then Fur says, yes, I actually love the points you're showing, and I think it's very important that girls grow up with a completely different mindset from the one that we grew up with. But then I find my son telling me how these girls reject boys in any context, and it also troubles me a bit. But anyway, and then and it goes on from there. Somebody says, have you got any sons? And I guess they haven't really responded to that. So there's a woman saying, I'm definitely a misandrist, and my son thinks that girls hate him. They don't get it. But I'm not going to reconsider my position at all.
Do you understand what misandry means, lady? It means you hate your son.
Yes.
Like, what is this nonsense? I'm a misandrist, but only I get to hate my son, not just random girls. Like, why is it that they can just go out in public and say this stuff? Like, could you imagine a bunch of fathers saying stuff like this? I'm teaching my daughter that boys are superior. I mean, this didn't ever even happen with Christians in the past. And you know what? I even shouldn't even say even, right? Complementary spheres, respect for women. There was, like, Christianity has that. People, I don't know where they got the idea that Christianity is anti-woman, or really, honestly, let's be frank. There's no religion that lasted any amount of time that women weren't willing to teach their children and didn't benefit them somehow. Okay? So there's anti-woman is the failure state of humanity up to this point until we get, like, artificial limbs. So to say that Christianity was anti-woman, it wasn't. Okay? So there's never been a point in time where fathers did shit like this to their daughters. Never. Ever. There has never been a group of men who had daughters and they didn't feel like they were custodially responsible for protecting and providing for their daughters until they, found a husband for them. Okay? There's never been a time where that wasn't the case, where men didn't define themselves in terms of protecting and providing for women. I'm sorry. I know there's like another sub thread where you can't talk about this. Otherwise you're encouraging gynocentrism. But I'm looking directly at the architecture of men and looking at what I can see in terms of how men describe their own thinking in literature. Right? There's a huge amount of custodial protection directed towards women and girls, particularly their wives and daughters. You would never see this ever in human history. A bunch of men talking to each other about how they subjugate their daughters, make their daughters feel lesser than their sons, not different, with different abilities, but lesser. Right? They might say something like, "You are why we're warriors and providers." They wouldn't say something like, "You're stupider, less fundamentally worthless, that you exist only to serve," which is not what Christianity says about men and women. These women are lying about this. And they're promoting something that has never existed, this kind of hatred directed towards boys versus girls. It's sort of existed against boys. It's never existed against girls. Okay, let me put it this way. There's never a situation where girls are considered lesser and boys aren't considered obligated. Right? So that doesn't make the girls lesser. They may have less ability, but that puts a greater obligation on the boys for the girls. And what are they constructing here? Boys are lesser and they're obligated. That's what they're making. That's never existed, except in them right here, right now. This level of abusive, chauvinistic bigotry against their own children has never existed. So they can't stand up and say, "Oh, it's turnabout is fair play." That has never existed. There has never been a cultural narrative that said that girls are weaker but obligated. Right? It's always girls, and it usually isn't girls. Girls are different, and boys are obligated. You see what I mean? To whatever weaknesses that women have, to protect and provide, because that maps exactly onto the architecture. Women are vulnerable when they get pregnant, when they lactate, when they're feeding their children. That they're vulnerable. So men exist to protect and provide for them. Hell, even fathers are vulnerable when they go through that process. So the male coalition exists to protect and provide for them. So it's like this is baked right into male architecture. And so it's like it is looking into hell. When you see these circles of these women doing this, it's like looking into demons torturing the vulnerable.
Yeah.
For no reason. Like there's no excuse for this. And what's astounding is if you say, okay, well, they're misinformed, right? They just got got bad information. They think they're doing the right thing. How do you not know that this is harming your kid? How don't you know that? How does this woman not know that when her daughter defends her father to her, that forcing her daughter to defend her father is wrong? That making her daughter into a weapon or social signaling is wrong? How do they not know this? How is that not an instinct? What is wrong with them? Okay.
I think that anyway, they're in a circle jerk online and they're just trying to top each other.
Yeah, I
Okay,
feel like
so I
that
did
Ninja
get
did
one
it.
more comment that I thought was the most telling. And it sort of shows because, okay, at the beginning of the show, at the top of the show, I said, it is good that the word misandry is basically in the lexicon. Like people use it.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Merriam-Webster. You can search for it online. When I started doing this, if you type the word misandry into a document, it would come up as a misspelled word because it wasn't seen as real, even though it's not made up whole cloth, and it does exist, right? So now it is in the conversation, and it cannot be ignored. So what are feminists doing now? Well, here's a comment from Vixen Wiggs on this TikTok video, and she says, for those of you trying to say that misandry does not exist and that it is red pill rhetoric, you need to think up step past that. I guess she means to say one step past that. We are fully aware of that. We have taken the word back. We are owning it, just like the pagans do. The word pagan was negative when it was created. No one called themselves a pagan. Then the ones who fought for themselves chose to own the word and to use it in defiance. This is what we have done with misandry. So there you go. They're basically trying to recapture. They're trying to, well, not that they ever had it, but they're basically claiming we have to use the word now because we can't pretend like it doesn't exist. So instead, we're going to reclaim it, which is why they're basically saying, yeah, I'm a misandrist. And the creator of the video says and replies and says, that's not true. Patriarchy is built on dominance and matriarchy is about power sharing and mutuality. There are several other differences as well. I recommend you do some reading on it. I don't know. I guess there's a comment that's missing here where somebody disagreed with them and they probably deleted the comment because I see missing context. So there you go. They can't ignore the term misandry, so they're going to try and reclaim it. So,
Mm-hmm. I think they're going to fail.
yep.
But,
So, I don't know. What were you going to say?
I just, I knew this was going to make me angry. Because it's, it's child abuse. Let's just be clear.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely. It's monstrous. Okay.
Yeah. So, do you have any other comments on the article that you want to take a look at?
No, you can do your analysis if you want.
Oh yeah, that's right. I can do my analysis. All right. So, where to begin? Okay. So the core finding of the vasopressin architecture, so I'm going to analyze what we just read from the architectural frameworks that I've developed, is that normal men are already running at custodial monitoring levels. Adding vasopressin to ASPD men produces empathy, but it produces no measurable change in normal men because there's no deficit to fill. The system runs ambient custodial monitoring, scanning for threats to anybody nearby, checking whether the man himself is a source of harm, calibrating to the most vulnerable person in proximity. Across 44 male authors tested, the self-monitoring substrate, "Am I a threat to her?" appeared in every text during sequences of an intimate nature. The provisional finding is that functional men have constant monitoring built into their operating systems. The monitoring, separating them requires specific damage conditions, developmental impairment plus severe trauma producing the ASPD pattern. The article, this thing that we just read, operates from an inverted model. It treats the antisocial personality disorder failure mode, men without monitoring, male presence without custodial orientation, as the male baseline. When Pittock writes that misandry in its true definition is a valid prejudice due to the billions of distasteful actions committed by men every second, she is taking the architecture's breakdown state as the architecture's normal operation. Vasopressin research says the opposite. The breakdown requires specific, identifiable damage. The functional system is biased towards overcaution, not predation. That's the real critical thing. Men's failure mode is over-monitoring themselves, not under-monitoring themselves. Well, I mean, yes, there's a failure mode, but that actually is interesting because antisocial personality disordered men lack vasopressin. They lack a component of what makes men men. And the disordered ones are actually oxytocin dominant. Now, the non-disordered ones may not be. They may not have any bonding component whatsoever. But the key finding is that men who are sociopathic are not fully male. They are neuter or more female. They have more female dominant emotions or hormones. The Mad Max comment, misogyny kills women, misandry makes men upset, assumes that hostility directed at men has no operational cost because men occupy a power position that buffers the impact. The vasopressin framework identifies a specific cost. The system is already biased towards over-monitoring. The failure mode of functional vasopressin architecture is over-monitoring, not under-monitoring. Categorical hostility loads additional ideological weight onto a system already producing approach paralysis. The culture has taken an architecture biased towards overcaution and pushed it further in the same direction. That's what we're seeing, right? When we talk about the birth rate declining, men have been pushed into a state of over-monitoring. They're not approaching because they're over-monitoring. And this is predictable based on what the architecture produces. LPT's parenting post telling her daughter that women are smarter than men, that women are better leaders, is a specific intervention in how her daughter will evaluate men. It trains the daughter to be unable to read custodial monitoring when she encounters it. If a man's monitoring function is running, if he is tracking whether he's a threat, whether she needs something, whether his presence is harming her, that behavior will be invisible to someone trained to read all male behavior as dominance. The monitoring function becomes illegible precisely because the interpretive framework has no category for it. So she's not just teaching her daughter to so-called be superior. She's teaching her daughter the inability to recognize when men are safe.
Yeah.
Now, I have an anecdote about that. I think you guys know Deadpool, Russian Deadpool. All the feminists he was with, the two feminists he lived with, and the feminists he talked to, never noticed that he completely lacked any custodial function. Oh, okay. I'm moving through here. The article is unimodal reading. It's basically relational modality. Every claim is processed through relational topographical channels. Who has power over whom? What the web of gender relations looks like? What signals are being sent about status? By the way, guys, relational thinkers obsessed with status, obsessed with dominance. There's no operative content anywhere in the piece. It means the article will be consumed and endorsed by social readers and will be relational readers and will be invisible or irritating to operational readers. I think we were an object lesson to that. All right. Okay, so the author Pittock is a second-year anthropology student. She describes growing up in Portland with a father who cooked, cleaned, and made lunches. Her own experience is evidence against her article's thesis. She was raised by a man running custodial monitoring at high resolution, expressed through operative behavior, making breakfast, packing lunches, managing the household. And yes, Brian, if you do these things, then it's a man doing these things. It's not femininity. She names.
What a wild idea.
It's so funny because feminists are like, oh, he's being feminist. No, he's a man doing these things. I guarantee he does them differently than a woman would. She names these behaviors, but for one thing, men are more likely to teach their kids how to do these things in terms of chores, it seems, because they're more likely to want to instill competencies in their children. She names these behaviors, but processes them as a relational signal about Portland's liberalism, rather than evidence of an individual man's custodial monitoring. The operative content, what her father actually did, passes through the reading modality and arrives as a statement about the social web. Growing up in the liberal bubble of Portland, it wasn't a man, it wasn't my father who took care of me. It was the liberal bubble of Portland. Acting through him, he was simply a symbol of it. Oh, anyway. Treatment of equals. The LPT tells her daughter women are smarter than men and men are better, or women are better leaders. This is the exact inverse of treatment of equals. Well, yeah, duh. Her daughter is being trained not to see equality, but its opposite, category-based assessment that values group membership over individual competence. The framework definition of TE, equality, is specifically that treating all members of a category identically is the inverse of treating people as equals, because it substitutes category membership for individual evaluation. And that's what the social web does, friends. It treats people as categories, obviously, because that's what they're doing. So when a social web gets a hold of a category like left-handed children, and it says left-handed children are of the devil, or whatever they said, you know, it makes sense to beat them. And when somebody with objective morality looks at that, they say, how does this make sense? Does it produce good outcomes? Is it consistent with a moral framework of, I don't know, not doing harm if it doesn't produce any good outcomes? And that objective morality, a person appealing to objective morality changes the social consensus, usually at considerable cost to themselves. That is the trajectory throughout all of human history. You know, when I figure out, if I ever figure out that there is something worthwhile in the existence of social relational webs like this one, a relational web like this one, or relational webs generally, I will tell you guys. I will inform you that there's anything of worth in relational webs. So far, still looking for that holy grail. But yeah. So what we've just seen is a relational web eating its own ass and celebrating child abuse.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely disgusting.
Yes, it is. It is disgusting. And it's astounding to me that these women can't tell what they're doing. Like we talk a big game about maternal love, but you'd think it would be operating on some instinctive level that, you know, you don't do this to your child. Right? But no, apparently not. Okay, so there was another video that I wanted to cover. It would be really quick.
Okay. You got to send it to me then.
I have to find it, be really quick. Okay. Did you have anything to add, or did anybody send any messages?
I got one from Richard Bier. Gives us $5 and says, Allison, the hatred has always existed. It just had a different targets. The same hatred led to people having a revolution, which resulted in the demise of landowners who were farmers producing the food supply. And the justification for ending the farmers was that the farmers had unearned privilege and were oppressing everyone else. Of course, look at how that turned out for everyone else when they eliminated those who produced the food supply. All right.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you for
always a
that.
failure condition, isn't it? When the relational web gets a hold of the operative layer, it's just like it just chews through it and spits it out and then destroys itself, and then we have to reinitialize human bonding and the creation of resources and a new civilization and then we have a relational web again, and it parasitizes everything. And again, if I ever figure out what's good about the relational web, I'll tell you guys. You guys will be
Yeah,
the first to know. All right, so I sent you
I got
a
it. It's on the
video.
screen.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
All
I
right,
figured
let's
we could
watch it.
end with something slightly amusing. This is
Okay.
guys. This is the relational web in action.
Okay. I'm just gonna play the whole thing nonstop. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
It's a minute long. I don't think we're gonna get dinged. It's on X, so.
it has no actual conversation, but we might want to pause it and just interpret some of it. It won't take long, even if we do
All right.
interpret it in
All right.
places. Go ahead. Jesus, okay, stop. Do you guys see this? Do you guys see this? Oh my God. Okay, so we probably should explain what's happening to anybody who's just who's listening.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So,
Describe it.
so a man is on a ladder, obviously trying to fix something. And it's on a balcony, and the ladder collapses under him, and he catches himself on the ledge, and he has about 3 women below him. And what happens is one woman picks up the ladder and puts it against his feet. Like she doesn't brace it on anything. She just touches it to his feet as if that's going to do something. And of course, he's suspended there. And you know why he's suspended there? Because he's waiting for them to get the ladder out of the way so he can jump down without hurting himself. And she picks up the ladder, touches it to his feet, and then throws the ladder off. Okay, let's keep going. I'll explain as it goes on, but
All right. Let's keep going.
yeah. All right, and they don't get the ladder out of the way. Now they're putting another obstacle in his way. A series of very unstable
Are they trying to
chairs.
guide him down from the ceiling? They.
Okay, but look, he's 5 feet from the ground.
No, I know.
right?
But I mean, like they think they can just pull him down, like he won't fall. Like there's no, like he can just
Like it's gonna
be set down on top of the chair.
Yeah, somehow, but the chair is not. The chair isn't the kind of chair that
Yes.
would work. It is a flimsy chair, and it is tippy, and he knows that, so he's still suspended there. But here's the thing: they don't need to do anything. They need to move everything out of his way and let him jump down. You see what I'm saying, Brian?
Yes.
They want to help, but they don't understand the physics of what's happening. He's 5 feet from the floor. He's not going to hurt himself by jumping down. So they keep bringing objects to put underneath him for no reason. Objects that will hurt him if he jumps down, which is why he's suspended from the ledge. And this friends is how relational readers solve a problem. Keep going. Let's finish it off. Just get everything out from under him. Just move everything. Get rid of it. Okay, finally they've gotten it.
What?
And there he goes. Well, they're finally moving the stuff. He probably told them,
yeah,
get the stuff out of the way so I can jump down. Like, no, I don't need a box full of broken glass to break my fall. I just need you to get everything out of the way so I can jump down.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Last bit.
All right,
he
that
jumps
was the
down.
end. He jumps down, yeah.
I just thought that was hilarious because they couldn't figure it out. This is the one woman touching the ladder to his feet. What the hell was she thinking that was going to do? She didn't brace it on anything. She just touched it to his feet as if it would magically, like it was like some kind of wizard staff.
Yeah.
By some magic, this is going to work. And then they're bringing obstacles that he will damage himself on if he jumps. Just like,
Wow.
how can we expect these creatures to run a society? Am I being an asshole?
No. I don't have an answer to that question. I don't. Yeah, it was
I mean, at least
painful.
they're not bad.
No, they're
Like,
trying
at
to
least
help,
they
but they
care.
just don't
They're
know.
trying to,
They don't know how the
do.
physical world works. Like they like
It's like he's just 5 feet from the ground. He doesn't need anything except to get everything out of the way.
yes. Yes, he'll be okay. I mean,
He'll
the
be
thing
okay.
fell. Yeah, he'll be okay. Well, there's not much else you can do, you know.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, he does. Well, I guess you could call the fire department and get a whole bunch of men to get
yeah. I don't
one of
think
those those things those nets you fall into.
yeah, right. A trampoline or a
Yeah,
giant like inflatable balloon thing, like a bouncy castle. I
a
don't know.
bouncy castle. Yeah, just
Yeah,
get a
ball
bouncy
pit.
castle. And yeah, wait there, dear. Let me get the ball pit.
Let me go rent a ball pit. And have it shipped here so you can land safely in it. Anyway.
Okay, but if anybody ever says that women don't need men, just show them this. Okay.
There you go.
And I don't know if this is something that just that happens to women when they don't get like enough engagement with reality. Like, I assume that a woman on a farm wouldn't make these kinds of mistakes. But yeah, or they just live in their little oxytocin web and they don't realize that reality isn't a series of symbols. You know, like the internet's a series of tubes. Reality is just a series of symbols, right?
Yeah.
The ladder is just a symbol. So if you touch the symbol to the thing that you want the symbol to interact with, that's all you need to do. There's no physics. It's okay, that's what it is. These women live in a game with no physics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Okay.
All right. So.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I guess we're done.
Anything interesting through the comments in
I think I read the one. I mean, Sinfinity said, while women could be like men if they really wanted to, most are children practically. I don't know. Witta Vern Slot says women used to be a lot more badass. I mean, there's always been exceptional people, but I don't think women and men have changed all that much.
I think women have changed. I would have to agree with. I think when women actually have to deal with reality as it is, I think that they are capable of at least getting better or a greater understanding. There may be a certain amount of limitation to it, but if you go back to peasant societies, they're always dealing with survival threat and other aspects of operative reality. And if the women didn't make at least reasonably sensible decisions, they would have probably not survived. And that probably holds true for our ancestral environment as well. Okay, we didn't have welfare and avocado toast jobs to just sort of like average out the meat hook realities of reality in the past. So I think women probably learned that you just get stuff out of the way and let him jump down. But anyway, but again, at least they were helpful. You know, at least you have that. They weren't helping, but they were helpful. Okay, so if you would like to support the show, it's feedthebadger.com/support. Very much appreciated. We are in the last hour, last day, and we have about 3,915 to go. So very appreciated if you help out. Feedthebadger.com/support. And if you would if you want to send us a message at any time after the show is over, feedthebadger.com/ did we actually do, I just realized
Did we do what?
we may have missed one of Noel's a comment from a while back we should have done on Monday. Let me see if I can find it. Sorry about this. Just give me a second. It's it's from, okay, no, Gary Thomas. Hannah just described the plot of why. No, it was from Nikki Dark Kikimora. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Did we
sure.
Did we get all of Dark Kikimora's comments? Because, oh yeah, here we go. Dark Kikimora, 15
Oh, from like
bucks.
before.
Yeah.
From
It's from,
No, I forgot
if you
about
go
that.
back
Yeah.
in the Super Chow, if you want
Yeah.
to read it, it's April 20th. Sorry, Dark Kikimora. This might be relevant. He was talking about Byrony's trad husbands resent their wives. Do you want me to read it, or can you find it?
Yeah, I can read it. Let me just go back and find it. It's up here.
Sure. You get that done.
Yeah, Darky Mora gave us $15. Thank you. And said, I know I'm late and have extra for a long one. I was arguing when this trad husbands resent their wives study was being pushed on Reddit a week ago, where the pedo mods removed half my comments. You can go to Google and pull up like 5 polls at least showing that women view stay-at-home fathers more negatively than men do. How about the fact that when it's a reverse setup of SAHD and FB, the wife resents the man so much, stay-at-home dads and FB, I don't know what the FB stands for. The wife resents the man so much she demonstrates
Financing
it.
bitch?
I have no idea.
Financing bitch?
I have no idea.
Financing bunny?
I have no idea. The wife resents the man so much she demonstrates it by divorcing him, and that maybe distorts the statistics even if they weren't orphan statistics in the first place. If one state killed slaves more, they would technically keep fewer slaves by virtue of slaves being dead. Duh. Also, would you recommend reading the book Men on Strike, or do you have negative opinions on it? I want to understand MGTOW better as someone trying to connect and fuse MGTOW ideas with role reversed relationships, if you can believe it, in a sort of blog I'm doing.
Yes, go read Men on Strike. Also, I discussed extensively on Monday the trad husbands resent their wives study. First of all, it wasn't trad husbands. It was a bunch of young men, I think 18 to 29, 70% of which did not know what they were talking about when they said trad wives. And they handed them a summary of what trad wives were. And those men, many of them didn't even really complete the entire survey, made their opinions. The 70% who had no idea what they were talking about before the researchers handed them a study, they gave their opinions on what trad wives were. There was, I think, 8% of the men thought that trad wives might be easier than going to work, or at least described them that way. And then there were men who were hostile sexists. So they found a population of men who thought that the trad wife lifestyle was easier for women, and another population of men who were hostile sexists. And they said that apparently the hostile sexists were more likely to endorse the trad wife lifestyle than the other men. But there were some men who thought that trad wives were lazy, so they put those two together and said, and I think the amount of men who were willing to endorse it was like 49% or 49 out of 585. Like this, let me be honest. This study is worthless. Right? It's just, it is worthless. It is a worthless study. Right? They got their headline that they wanted based on an absolutely worthless study. And nobody, I don't know why they're spending money on crap like this instead of spending money on researching human endocrinology. And I know why, because if you researched human endocrinology and how it's different in terms of men and women, you would have incontrovertible proof that men and women are different.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't handle that because men and women can only be different in the ways that they say they're different, which is not consistent with reality. But, we can't have bio-truths. We just, men always oppress women, but no bio-truths. Right? We can't be bioessentialists describing categories to groups of people, but men are the ones who rape. Men are the ones with the disgusting behaviors. Men are the ones who need to be controlled. Always men, no bioessentialism. Feminism doesn't do bioessentialism, but it's always men. Like, okay, I'm good. Feedthebadger.com/support the show. Let me say that again without the stumbling. Feedthebadger.com/support to support the show. Right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I did it. And
Yeah.
feedthebadger.com/justthetip if you want to send us a message, and badgernation.online if you want to read more about my work on endocrine architecture, modalities, and a lot of other stuff like the BP Deepwater Horizon disaster, how human beings, the circumstances and environments in which human beings actually express pair bonds, other stuff like that. If you're interested, badgernation.online, come in. That's where I put up my stuff because I prefer to write it in a community because I am myself probably a relational web thinker. All right. So anyway, that's it. Back to you, Brian.
Okay. All right. Well, if you guys like this video, please hit like. You guys can hear me okay? Okay.
I can
Subscribe if I'm just for some reason my
it's not
character
me.
wasn't moving. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys think about what we talked about on the show today, and share the video because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on this episode of Maintaining Frame, and we will talk to you guys in the next one.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.